To summarize, overcoming stuttering is not just about following a set of instructions, it's about consistently forming habits that allow those instructions to work effectively over time. The neuroscience-based method practiced at WSSA can be incredibly powerful when paired with principles of habit formation from Atomic Habits. By making your speech practice obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, you can create the consistent routines needed to rewire your brain, reduce stuttering, and experience long-term success. Remember, the process of habit formation takes time, but every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. Keep building, keep practicing, and let the power of habits help you break free from stuttering.
Prathusha came to us in 2016. She was one of the first people to ever read my first edition and contact me. And she had, I don't remember her age at the time, but she had started stuttering at age 13 when her father died. And it was mainly with strangers and authorities and men. And at this point, she beat it very quickly and within several months. And she has never relapsed, to my knowledge. And this is now, she's in her 8th year of fluency. And so I think everybody needs to know that as a little background to her.
You worked really hard to make that speech. That was incredible. Because I actually just read Atomic Habits day before yesterday, and I read about the same thing. I learned all of the steps to making good habits, like the cue, the craving, and all. And now, after hearing this speech, you have literally just refreshed my memory. And now I will never, ever forget anything from that book ever again. Because that was my one problem, is that whenever I would read a book, I would always forget the things in like literally one day. But now that you did this speech, you have reminded it to me all over again. And now I know all of the steps. So I would really like to thank you for that. I really enjoyed all the points that you made in your speech of the reading aloud and all. It was really good. As for the 1 hour of reading, I feel like that 1 hour is actually a pretty short amount of time if you read a book that you enjoy and if you get into it and if you focus on the crutches you are doing. Because me and my dad read 1 hour every day, and it feels so short because we actually enjoy what we read and like we actually try to understand it. So I feel like that 1 hour is really short. So for those of you who think it's really long, just read something you enjoy and like basically try to get into it. Try to think about what the author is trying to explain, and it will be amazing. So it
Wonderful.
was an amazing speech. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Yasin. You know what? I learn a lot from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Patricia, amazing speech like always. And I'm also a James Clear fan. I really, really like Atomic Habits. I've tried to implement that on different aspects in my life in terms of sports, uh, studies, courses, etc. And I think that I found out that it really helps in terms of stuttering is when you actually have a change in identity, and that's really important, because that's actually, I think, the thing that makes the habit like stick in a way. The example that is given in the book, I think, is if you're a person that sees himself as an athlete, then it isn't a great amount of work to eat healthy and run in the mornings. If you don't have that change in identity, then of course it's weird to do all of these things and sacrifices for what. So I think this is really, really interesting and really important, and in terms of us as PWS and PWSS. And I feel that this is why it is structured that way, like why after a month without bad incidents, you change your framing from being a PWS to a PWSS, because you then change the identity you assign on yourself as a person that has the abilities and tools to stop stuttering. So yeah, this is great. I have a question about that, because that's a thing that I've actually been thinking about. Uh, do you feel that it's best to have that change in identity of being, okay, now that I'm a PWSS, I refuse to stutter, and this is why I do all my practice and techniques and everything? Or is it more than you want to change the identity of being a person that trains a lot and practices and is hardworking? Is it both, you think? Is it the latter, the former? What do you think about that?
Wonderful question, Sebastian. I think, changing the identity is the key, right? If you want to eat healthy, then you have to think from a healthy person's perspective. Only then you won't pick a chocolate in a grocery store. Instead, you will go and pick a fresh fruit or something, right? So it is very important that we change our identity to PWSs, because once you do that, you no longer think about stuttering anymore. You just think about how you have to improve from there on and how you have to expand your comfort zone. And this identity shift, it actually, took a huge chunk of burden from my past, which was caused by stuttering. And now I feel completely free of that burden.
That is the whole purpose of our program, is transitioning from and to. And once you get rid of that burden, then it's a spiral up instead of a spiral down.
Right.
And you focus on message, and you're not worried about anything else but your message. And that's the whole point.
Superb speech.
Thank you.
You make me want to go read the book now. It's funny because I was actually looking for that book and I thought I found it, but instead I picked this one up by mistake. I don't know if you can see it. It's called The Power of Habit.
Okay.
And yeah, so like the covers were like similar, and I just kind of thought, oh, this is probably the book. And then later on, I figured out it was in fact the wrong book, but it's pretty good. But you definitely make me want to read the book now. Going back to the atomic habits, I think the habits are pretty clear and concise on what to do as far as like 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think people have a difficult time. They have a difficult time adhering to like that program, for example, because they forget why. Right? So like one of the things that I would do to keep myself motivated and to keep myself doing the 1, 2, 3 punch was I would think about my why. Why do I want to cure my stuttering? Why does this mean so much to me? What would I do with my life if I didn't have this burden anymore? And how would my life change if I cured my stuttering? And it's different for everyone. Truly is. And that was the thing that kept me motivated. I was thinking about my why. And I would think about that on the days where I didn't want to read. I mean, most of the time I'd have an issue like reading or doing the mind training or anything like that. But there were days, we're all human. And sometimes it's like, man, I don't want to read this book, man. I'm tired of this book. I'm halfway through it. The plot sucks. I don't want to read this anymore. But then I started thinking about my why. And that's what really helped make the difference in the execution of it. So that's all I wanted to add. Again, Prathusha, I have nothing but respect for you. I think you're simply the best. You are I've said this many times, a pillar of this program. You are the queen, and I bow down to you. So
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
I have to say that your journey is inspiring over there, and also the work what you do here.
I take this opportunity to thank you, Pratyusha. You are one of the most sincere person, most serious person I have seen in this group who takes grudge sessions regularly. You are a, great mentor. You support the people in the community in a great way. I have seen you, putting your best in whatever way you can help to support the like most of us around. So keep up with your good work.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Vishwanath. Really appreciate it.
I just thought it was perfect, spot on with kind of what I've been going through recently. I've been dedicating myself to kind of a plan, a structure throughout my days. And I used to kind of operate just winging everything. But now I actually got on kind of a little program with my friend, and it has a lot of tasks involved that are actually pretty hard. And if you mess up once, you have to start over. But I just think it's people should give sticking to a goal a real chance, because you kind of don't really know what it means to stick with the goal sometimes if you don't allow yourself to stick with it, regardless of how you feel or if you're tired or not. What you get out of it is kind of like an internal fortitude and resilience, and a mental kind of strength that you're able to kind of you grow. And I think that's big with me. I used to not be able to stick with a lot of goals, and now I wake up and I have a set time, like you said. I try to implement these different tasks, like 10 pages of reading every day. I dedicate 15 minutes of planning my day. And then I work out quite a decent amount of the times I have. But yeah, I just think that's a big one. Just try to stick with the goal. If you never really stuck with the goal, then you'll get something out of it that you never expected. I think a big thing that really kind of carried me along too is what I heard is it's not really a lot of people look at the day as what you get out of it, but really you should look at it as what can you put into the day, and then you'll see awesome results from that. So thank you very much.
So at the start, like when you had started this whole thing, and you had to go into, let's say, like a job interview or like a speech, do you like announce like to the crowd or like your boss that you have a speech impediment, or do you not kind of like tell them that, or do you try to kind of like use your like speech plan or so, because like sometimes we are humans, we have like mistakes, and we fall and kind of like forget our our like speech plan. So in like for like my case, I have a speech coming up in September, and I'm like already panicking about it, and I'm like thinking it in my head, and I'm like, nope, don't think it, just focus on the message. And then sometimes I have like these like people's eyes on me, and that just gets me like so nervous. So how do you like if you were, let's say, like my show, how would you start this, like knowing that you're gonna like kind of like hesitate and get like nervous, I'm like, how would you go
Okay, that's a
about
great
that?
question.
Yeah.
I still remember the interview that I attended with EY in 2019. Okay, that was my first interview. And the one thing that is very important while sitting in an interview is that you shouldn't be hesitant about using the crutches. You know, there are two things that we do that makes us fail to use a crutch. The first thing is we simply forget to use the crutch due to nervousness and anxiety. We just succumb to it. And the second thing is we hesitate to use a crutch, thinking what other people might think about the way we speak, right? So, for me, I think I didn't mind using a slight melody while talking. So my talking was like sing-song way of speaking, right? And the interviewer looked at me quite peculiarly, but it wasn't that awkward. I was able to dial up and dial down as and when needed. So it appeared very natural. And to appear very natural, I had to do a lot of practice. So that's for sure. And Zina, you said one more thing, that when people stare at you, you kind of get nervous, right? I had the same problem, Zina. You know, so how I changed this mindset is when people are looking at you, right? They are looking up at you to learn something from you. So you take it in that sense. So once you slightly shift the perspective, you feel more proud of yourself, right? And you feel like you're inspiring people around you, and that's why people are staring at you.
Your speech was really good. I love the book Atomic Habits, and even it's like one of my favorite books. And even when going through the program, I was thinking how I can apply what I learned from that book into the program. And so I just loved how you were able to share these practical tips with everybody. I think that's very helpful. One thing that really stood out to me and got me thinking was Sebastian's earlier question about identity and how you shape your identity through your thoughts, which will shape your actions, which will shape your character, and will eventually shape your destiny, right? Um, what what I think with stuttering is a lot of your identity will change subconsciously because it's not like you could will yourself to stop stuttering. It's not like you could just one day wake up and be like, I'm a fluent speaker, and that will cause you to stop stuttering. It's a lot of the times uncontrollable. You can't will yourself in that moment to stop stuttering. That's why I found it so hard to battle stuttering. But I think Lee Lovett's neuroscience approach to tackling stuttering is very revolutionary, and I wish it was more widely used because stuttering is fundamentally a neuroscience issue. Like it's a completely mental issue, which when I was young, I thought it was something physical. I thought I wasn't breathing correctly or some other thing. If I had known it was like a mental issue and had known practical ways to tackle that, I would have been better off, you know? And so back to my original point, I think it is a completely subconscious shift in your identity. And I think your subconscious mind, each time it hears yourself being a fluent speaker, it will slowly in the background without even you realizing it, it will shape your mental image of who you are from a stutterer to a fluent speaker. And it's something that occurs in the background. It's not something you can control. It's a completely subconscious thing that happens over time.
That's
I just love to hear your thoughts on that.
I absolutely agree with everything you say. That's why, you know, we do mind training, right? We say the positive affirmations, and that cleanses our subconscious and changes all the, you know, negative aspects of the stuttering and builds confidence that you can do it. You can talk without stuttering, right? And it happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but the more you repeat a thought, it becomes your dominant thought, and your dominant thought is your reality. Right? So yes, I agree with you. It just happens over time, gradually.
Thank you, Catherine. And that is a good point. And I'll say your first comment was you can't will it. And you're 100% correct. You can't will your broken leg to heal. but you can go to the doctor and get a cast and let it heal. And that's something that the world has said is impossible forever until Lee stepped on the scene and said, wait, here's a cast. I think I can fix it. And it's changed the whole game.
As to Prathusha, I should have also mentioned that she has a BA and an MBA, and she works with a financial company. She recently had a baby girl, and she returned to India on a temporary leave of absence, and that's given her a little more time to make a talk here today. As to her speech, I'll approach it from different angle. As to content, everyone here has commented on that. It was a superb summary of the tips that she found most helpful at this time. Her delivery was superb because she pronounced all of her words very clearly. She didn't speak too fast, which is a challenge for her and for me and for most people. And she inserted stops, 1 second stops, 1001. And that gave us a chance to absorb what she said and to understand it and remember it. So, brilliant job. So, look, in any event, compliment, of course, to Prathusha. What can I say? Everyone has said it. She doesn't need any more laurels from me. It was a great job. But I want to compliment all of you, and your comments have been so helpful and so informative, and show to me that you're on the right track, that you're going where we're going. I guess that's it. And thanks again, really, Clifton, you did a fine job as a host. Thanks again to Prathusha, but a special thanks to everyone here for paying attention and having such intelligent things to say and doing it in such a non-stuttering way. So it's a pleasure to be here. Bless you all. Bless you all. Clifton, back to you.
Thank you, Lee. Always encouraging. It's now time to close our meeting. I hope you enjoyed exchanging thoughts with ex-stutterers and those fast becoming ex-stutterers. I will now end with our motto. Feel free to say it along with me. If you can say one word anywhere, anytime, you can say and love to say any word, anywhere, anytime. Until next Saturday, have a great weekend, everybody.